What is going on, DDP Snake Pit fans? It's time for another edition of the Snake Pit, presented to you exclusively by Podcast Heat and adfreeshows.com.
Inside my Hall of Fame ring, it says work ethic equals dreams. You can do it. Anything can happen. You gotta be positive. Shake that shit off and just keep moving forward.
He got the diamond cutter and the place explodes.
My whole life, I believed in myself.
Everybody told him, you're too old, you're too old, you're too old. He was a 35-year-old with some years, some hard years. I actually told him, don't quit your day job.
I don't want you messing up my hair.
The goal that everybody told him he would never achieve, nobody but him believed could happen.
Underdog that he might be, he has became a major player.
He was right, and all the naysayers were wrong.
You got a new world champion, guys. And it's DDP!
Then, everything I worked for was gone.
It was stressful. It was hard to make ends meet.
It doesn't matter what the adversity is. If you fall, get back up again.
He's so, and always has been, so driven.
He just has such a strong work ethic. Growing up the way he did, he always had to work harder.
17.
I think his legacy is more outside of the ring than it is inside the ring.
Bottom line is, it starts here, bro.
Dallas saved my life.
Dallas just likes helping people.
He needed me today. I would stop everything I'm doing and I'd go wherever he at. He need me.
It's all about pride.
You can get whatever you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. That's the truest statement I've ever heard. And I live by it. I was born Paige Joseph Falkenberg, April 5th, 1956, in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, down on the Jersey Shore. By the time I was 3 years old, my mom was married, divorced, and had 3 kids. My mom moved up to North Jersey to make more money so she could help support the family. I went to live with my dad. My dad he was a hard worker, he was a good guy, but he made bad decisions, and he liked to drink. He couldn't even spell the word father back then, let alone be one. So he brought me to my grandmother's house. That's where I grew up.
My grandmother brought us up. My mom was our dad, basically, because she took care of us financially. And my mom would come down, and she would make sure that everything was in order.
Once or twice a month, she would come down. Didn't see her a lot. And my grandmother was there, but there wasn't a lot of parenting skills there. I pretty much raised myself. And when I was in school, when you can't read, the last thing you're going to tell somebody is, you can't read. I mean, I grew up with ADD and dyslexia at a time when no one knew what the hell ADD or dyslexia was. They just thought we were stupid. And when you got everybody laughing at you, I'd get myself kicked out of the class before I got there. I didn't look at it as adversity. I just looked at it as life. Then, when I was in 7th grade, I got hit by a car. It hit my right knee, my face bounced off the hood, and I flew 42 feet from point of impact. So this was a serious knee injury. That was a life-changing experience, to say the least, because I was loved football, loved hockey, and they weren't gonna let me play that anymore. They weren't gonna let me play sports. That was the first part of someone telling me I can't do something. No one was gonna take athletics away from me. And I really believe that helped me develop a lot of the positivity, if you will, when it looks the darkest. I believe it really helped me start very young, telling me, no, you're not going to tell me what I can or can't do.
Back then and through his whole lifetime, everything always turns around for him because he's not a quitter. Never was, never will be.
And the roar of the crowd now is for the dream. It is for Mr. Dusty Rhodes.
When Paige was younger, he loved wrestling. He watched it on TV. He fell in love with it.
Dusty Rhodes, Bruno Sammartino, and those bigger-than-life characters made me think I could do that. And one night after college, me and my buddy had gone to a wrestling match at Asbury Park Convention Center. And we were like, we're going to talk to somebody there. We're going to find out how to get into wrestling. And I see Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Thus far, this match is pretty much all Greg Valentine.
I was out in the back of the Asbury Park Convention Center, and this skinny guy yells up at me and says, "Hey, Greg Valentine."
"Hey, Hammer, how you get into professional wrestling?"
Yeah, I said, "Go f*** yourself."
He walked back inside. He was being a heel.
I never seen anything like it.
But he was fascinating to me.
It's time for everyone to step in and get down here.
And I thought, man, professional wrestling, this became my dream. So I go up to Jersey City twice a week to start learning how to wrestle. I would get so excited. But at one point I went over the top rope and came down and tweaked the hell out of my right knee, the same knee I hit by the car. The doctor's like, "You're done." So at 23 in 1979, I don't have a job. And that's how I came in to the nightclub world. Started as a bouncer and bartender.
Everybody knew Paige. You know, he was large and in charge when he walked in the door. And he just knew how to bring people together.
And then eventually I get a call from my buddy Tony Cafaro. And he says, "Hey, we got this idea about a club in Fort Myers, Florida. I really want you to come down. You can run it, Norma Jean's Dance Club." And that place was crazy.
You've got to remember, in the 1980s, Florida was synonymous with a good time. Miami Vice was the biggest show on television. When you thought about Florida and the nightlife scene, you thought about the biggest party in the country.
I'm not seen as a pillhead or a drug addict, but I partied. One night, I did some cocaine, and that, scared me. And I thought, that shit'll own me. And I stopped. Still, it was the booze, the broads, and the party. I was a guy who looked like a rock star, who ran a nightclub, and I was wearing, zebra skin boots and jeans with holes in it, rock and roll t-shirt. And I said, can you imagine if I ever have a reason to dress like this? And by this time, I'm not really even thinking about wrestling, but occasionally I watch. And then WrestleMania happened. The first guy to come through the curtain, I'm like, who is this guy?
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Totally sucked in.
Let's see what. Oh, my goodness! Look at that!
I was so bummed out that I did not continue following my dream. So one night, I get in my club, go back to my office, I'm going to get my keys, and I go to grab them, and there's two monitors there. And I look at the monitor, I'm like, no way. Of course, it's Jake the Snake Roberts. I say, hey, man, you Jake the Snake? Who wants to know? The guy who runs this place. So what are we drinking? And me and Jake, we had a hell of a time that night. And he would later, best friends with DiBiase and the Bushwhackers, and he told the boys, hey, you got some guy there, cool dude, won't pay for anything.
And we went into this bar, and this wild character was into running the place. And he goes, man, I love the wrestling business. Someday I want to be in it. And I'm thinking, you're my age. I'm on my way out, and you're not even in it yet.
At 30 years old, being around those guys, it really started to get my mind thinking, man, you really blew it. You could have been a part of this. Norma Jean's is the place to go. It's the hottest club from Sarasota to Cuba.
One night out with my girlfriends, I decided to go to this hot nightclub that everybody was going to. And this huge hulk of a man walked in and asked if he could buy me a drink.
Kimberly and I started dating, and the guy who was not a faithful dude to anyone became very faithful. 1 year to the day, I asked her to marry me.
He did live a very rock star lifestyle in the nightclub business, but I thought, he's a hustler, he's gonna make things happen. I know he's going to be successful whatever he's doing.
So here's Paige, newly married. And even though he's successful in the nightlife industry, he can't get out of his head this dream of being a professional wrestler.
So one night in my club, at closing time, I've been drinking, we're all doing shots, and while we were in my office, I thought, I'm 31 and a half. Too old to be a wrestler, but maybe I could be a manager. I could be Diamond Dallas Page, and I could have the Diamond Exchange. And I'm just writing that down, doodling it. That's what makes me think of it. And at the end of the night, we're getting ready to leave, and I said, it's possible.
Good God, now through the end of February, Norma Jean's Cafe, there's a special...
I did all of our radio commercials. I get a call from a local cable network that want to do a story on the guy behind the voice.
But it isn't just the commercials, the voice, the writing of them, the ideas. If we can't get it across from our people.
They say to me, so where does the voice come from? And I grabbed those sunglasses and I put them on. And I said, I was born to be a professional wrestling manager.
That's right. Diamond Dallas Page is where the voice comes from. It's deep.
You never know who's watching. I get a call from the AWA. There's a void for a young manager.
The AWA sees this character and mistakenly think he's in the world of professional wrestling.
They said, Dallas, we're going to give you a tryout. I couldn't believe it.
That's when I thought about the risk, because I thought, if he's really going to do this, this is a crazy industry to be going into.
You got it, dude. MTV's looking to stand the wrestling world on its ear. We're looking for...
Next thing you know, I am Diamond Dallas Page. I'm being walked to the ring by the Diamond Doll. I get a call from Mike Graham. He goes, I'm sitting here with Dusty Rhodes. He's left WWE, and he's coming to WCW to work. I want to put you on the phone with him. I want you to blow him away like it's the biggest mark ever.
Dusty took an interest in Dallas because he saw something.
Mike, I've got strep throat. You're on. I had nothing prepared, but I knew Dusty's stuff. Good God, Dusty Rhodes, the Tower of Power, the man of the hour. Did like this 40-second rant. And then you hear that voice. Was that a recording, kid? I said, no, Dusty, that was me. He goes, all right, we're going to talk about some business.
Well into adulthood.
I got all my ducks in a row.
When he made his way to WCW, fortunately, they stuck him with Scott Hall. I felt like I was pretty sound and had a pretty good physique and stuff like that, but I didn't have a marketable look.
I pick up the phone and I call him. I go, bro, you got to get rid of that mustache. I took him to my hairdresser. He showed up. He looked like a damn movie star.
So thank you, Dally.
Again, I knew that it's a rough racket.
Welcome back to Worldwide Wrestling. Magnum TA here with two real characters.
Magnum TA was a former wrestler that was now in a management role in WCW.
Magnum pulls me into the office at TV. And he said, listen, we can't let you manage anymore. Yeah, he said, did I do something? He said, no. He goes, it's not your fault. It's the hair, the clothes, the bling, the rap, the dolls. When you're out there, you're taking too much attention away from the wrestlers, and they're the ones who draw the money. I'm like, Magnum, are you telling me I'm too over the top for professional wrestling? So now, everything I worked for was gone. I think everything that happened to me along the way, from not being able to read, to bouncing around from one family to another, to raising myself most of the time. It taught me that it doesn't matter what the adversity is. You just have to keep moving forward. If you fall, get back up again. So, at 35 and a half, I said, I'm going to become a professional wrestler. No one starts at that age. I moved to Atlanta. Next day, I started at the power plant.
He worked out at the same gym I did, and I actually told him, man, don't quit your day job. He's in his 30s. Who starts wrestling in their 30s? It's a young man's game. The challenges that lied before him were, I thought, unnavigable. I thought there's no way this guy can do it.
I thought to myself, man, I got a long way to go, and it's going to be a long, hard road. And I'm not making any money.
It was stressful. It was hard to make ends meet.
5 months in, and Kimberly, she was like, you need to go back into the bar business. Like, things are getting really tight. And that's where that inner voice, like, yes, I am going to be one of the top guys in this business. That was the story I was telling myself. And then one day at the power plant, I hear Paige, and I turn around, and it's Jake the Snake Roberts. He's with WW, your journey in this life. That's what I said. Listen, I'm going to talk to Kimberly and see if she'll let you take the bedroom we have downstairs till you find a place. So he stayed with us. I don't want to be the booze police. You know, I just want to be your friend.
As DDP is trying to figure out how he can get back into the industry, that same industry is kind of pushing out Jake the Snake Roberts, and those two paths come together. But the ultimate irony is that Jake the Snake Roberts is one of the guys that DDP had idolized for years leading up to this. And now he's crashing in DDP's basement.
He was bad, but wasn't anywhere near as bad as he would get decades later.
When Jake came to stay, Jake and Dallas, they'd spend a lot of time staying up late, watching Jake's wrestling videos, rehearsing things.
I'm going to teach you psychology. I'm going to teach you timing. Either you're going to do it right or you're not.
Even with Jake the Snake falling on hard times, the mastery that Jake the Snake Roberts had for this industry was able to be passed into DDP.
He said, you'll learn more sitting on the couch with me than you ever will in the ring with me.
There was nobody on his side other than me. Everybody told him, you're too old, you're too old, you're too old, you're too old. But they didn't see what I saw. I seen how hard he worked. Nobody worked harder than him. I mean, nobody.
Come on! There you go! It's a power plant. I'm getting a little bit farther, a little bit farther, a little bit farther.
That's when DDP gets the call from WCW. He now has a second chance as a 35-year-old rookie wrestler.
Eric Bischoff is the executive producer.
Well, first of all, Bischoff, I could see where you would be totally lost without me. But I told you for months.
With Paige, you know, I had been watching this character struggle to kind of find his footing.
He had sunglasses on, he had girls, had a mink coat, a cigar in his mouth. I'm going, I don't know what this guy is.
The audience wasn't getting with him at all.
Look at where DDP was at that time. He had already gotten a crack as a manager. If it doesn't work this time, there's simply nothing left for him.
And one day, I said, Paige, You got to lose the gimmicks, man. You got to be you. Just be you.
This is a different Diamond Dallas Page that we've been seeing coming out week after week.
That's where fans started to see there's a human in there.
It's all about pride.
When Paige Joseph Falkenberg stopped trying to be Diamond Dallas Page, and Diamond Dallas Page started taking on the characteristics of Paige Joseph Falkenberg,
nobody in World Championship Wrestling has worked harder than I have.
that's when my career started to take off.
Diamond Dallas Page, much better than we've seen him. And it's a diamond cutter out of nowhere.
The Diamond Point, I really want to be a top guy. And one night, I see Dusty, and I said, Dream, I know I'm never going to be you. I know I'm never going to be the world champion. He's like, what the hell are you doing it for? Dallas, if you, as hard as you work, as far as you come, if you don't believe you could be the world champion, you need to get the hell out of our business right now.
During that period in the 90s, my dad was a mentor to a lot of different up-and-coming wrestlers, but I think Dallas was probably his number one.
So I can tell you exactly what I did. There's a phone with a ledger pad, and I wrote on it, I will be the world champion in 5 years or less. And then Hulk comes in the company, and one night, Hulk grabs me and he pulls me over. He says, how are you doing it? How are you getting so much better?
Once he got, his feet wet, he figured it out. And he pushed so hard, the people dig him now. Didn't understand this guy. Now I get it. There's main event potential there with this guy.
And he said, whatever you're doing, you need to keep doing it. Because somewhere down the line, you have the ability to draw huge money with me. And he walked away. And I was like, holy shit. So now it's Jake Snake Roberts, Dusty Rhodes, and Hulk Hogan are telling me I have the ability to at some point be a top performer in our business. That's powerful. I collected so much of my memorabilia over the years. It's like show and tell. This is when I'm managing Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Scott. Both of those guys were so instrumental in my life. Me helping them and them helping me.
Years before, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash got their start in WCW alongside DDP. And once joining Hulk Hogan, they created the NWO, one of the biggest acts that pro wrestling has ever seen.
By that time, you're watching Page's career ascend, right? He's getting more and more popular.
He got the diamond cutter and the place explodes.
But the moment that put him over the top was when Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, it was their idea to bring him in, be a part of the NWO.
You, my friend, can be NWO for life.
The bookers really didn't see me as that top guy. But Kevin and Scott, they're the ones who fought for it, for me.
The welcome wagon, if you will.
Going out to officially welcome DDP aboard.
I put the shirt on, Scotty, high five.
And Star's born.
Out and clear, this guy's a main eventer.
And he's my buddy, and it felt like, wow, full circle. Like, wow, man, when you helped me, I never forgot that.
I knew he made it.
And then his peers, guys in the locker room, were all of a sudden now coming to me and going, Randy Savage, hey, brother, got an idea. In Page, think it could be good. Okay, Randy.
Underdog that he might be, he has became a major player at WCW.
And then one day, I was at an autograph signing in Houston. So I went to see the Rockets play that night, and they were playing the Jazz. Karl Malone, the third leading scorer of all time, he throws the diamond cutter sign out to me. And then he sent us VIP passes. We went backstage.
As a little kid, there was no other kid in the neighborhood that loved wrestling more than me. So I was nervous as hell. The hell yeah, you get awestruck. Are you kidding me?
And Paige called me and said, hey, what do you think about Karl Malone? We'd already been working with Dennis Rodman. What do you think about Karl Malone? What are you, crazy? Of course. But how's that going to happen? He goes, he's sitting right next to me. You want to talk to him?
Eric Bischoff. He just shot a number out there. Hell, I took it. I didn't negotiate. I want to do it. Hey, I started laughing when he left like, I would have done this for free. Dallas, the very first training we had, we connected. I'm an old cowboy from the South, and you know, as they say, when that's a good egg, so to speak. We would go to restaurants and be a homeless person. You give them a hug, you see him put something in their hand, just the heart. If he needed me today, I would stop everything I'm doing in my power, and I'd go wherever he need me.
It's summer of 1998. DDP and Malone against Hogan and Rodman. And you got to understand this. This is just after the NBA Finals, where you have Malone and Rodman going at each other. So this had the potential to be huge.
Call a lot more than win on the court, brother. Really? A lot more.
We shoot the angle, not on the wrestling show, on the world stage, the Tonight Show. That next day, paparazzi insanity. I'll bet you there was 70 cameras from all over the world.
Get over here, guys.
The whole magnitude of what we was doing, that's all people wanted to see.
Four of the most recognizable faces in the sports world are center stage for one of the most anticipated battles ever.
Dallas would say thanks to me.
Here's the desperation tag, and here comes Paige.
You bringing light to our profession.
It's the fourth quarter, and the mailman's got the ball.
And I'm saying, no, what y'all did for me is what's amazing. The funnest ever. DDP, he bought me alone for the ride. He bought this little snotty-nosed kid from North Louisiana on the ride of a lifetime.
Now he was teaming on giant pay-per-view events with celebrities like Jay Leno, becoming a household name.
To think where I was even 2 years earlier to where it was at this point. Humbling, mind-blowing. I knew it was going to change my life, but I didn't think it was going to change it like that. It was like being one of the Beatles for a while there. It was really crazy.
It was an amazingly exciting time, but it was also a really stressful time, too. He got really exhausted, burning the candle at both ends.
Between The Tonight Show, Kilborn, Hollywood Squares, filming movies, when you're riding that tsunami, you gotta ride the tsunami. I was so burned out, and my body was pretty beat up, as I was running so hard. The abuse had just blew my back out. And that's when I ruptured my L4 and L5 vertebrae. Went to 3 different doctors. They said my career was over.
Fine.
When I blew my back out, went to 3 different doctors. They all said I was done. Whew. But again, this was a thing that happened as a kid that really stuck with me, man. Like I'm gonna figure out whatever it takes to be able to continue to live whatever dream I'm working towards. But more than anything, you can't give up. How do I fix this? Around that time, Kimberly says, why don't you try yoga to heal your body? I was like, that.
I I had started doing yoga, and I would often invite Dallas to work out with me. He wouldn't even come downstairs to try it. He was like, nah, that's for chicks.
But he kind of bullied me into it.
And he did one class with me. From that one first workout, he became a yogi.
I started to feel a significant difference. And that's how I got back in the ring.
Well, Diamond Dallas Page is one of those wrestlers that you just can't keep down. No matter what the conditions, DDP is ready to go.
Diamond Dallas Page ascended to levels that I think even he would think unbelievable. But even with all this success, Diamond Dallas Page had never been world champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spring Stampede's main event of the evening. A four corners match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
One of these four men will emerge as the world champion tonight.
I told Dusty 4 years, 4 months, and 14 days earlier that I know I'm never going to be you or Rick or Hulk. Yet that night, I stepped in the ring in a four-way dance with Rick, with Hulk.
You give it up to that?
That goal that he strived for, the goal that everybody told him he would never achieve, nobody but him believed could happen.
Diamond cutter by Page. 1, 2, 3.
We've got a new world champion, guys.
It's history. Diamond Dallas Page is the heavyweight champion of the world.
That was Dusty saying to me, the guy who believed in himself more than anybody, because he knew that I believed in myself. But it doesn't happen when you want it to. You gotta put the work in, and you gotta be relentless.
A man who knows what it means to be a champion, to work hard. The people love Diamond Dallas Page, and they should.
In the 90s, WCW became the biggest wrestling promotion in the country.
So if you want to talk about the significance of one individual, truth is, Page was right there, smack in the middle of it all.
He was a guy that stepped up and became an attraction for us.
You will feel the...
And the good part was he was right. And all the naysayers were wrong, which is just so cool at the end of the day.
I had something else, and it's going to dwarf my wrestling career.
We had moved to Los Angeles from Atlanta because I wanted to pursue some other interests. I wanted to work on some acting and get in that pond. While we were in LA, we just started growing apart. So it was kind of a warning indicator that we needed to break up. But the love stayed. He's still, in many ways, my best friend. And at the time, he knew what his next path was going to be. It was going to be to invent this new system of yoga.
Clench your fist and make some noise!
And introduce it to a whole new population who normally wouldn't do yoga and change people's lives.
Life is not about how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get back up again. And that's what DDP Yoga is all about. And just, helping people. In 2011, now I tried to help Jake many times, but he wasn't ready to hear, especially when you're dealing with addiction.
I was doing cocaine every day, and not just a little bit either.
I couldn't believe how bad he was. I said, I don't think I will ever be able to have a real conversation with my brother again.
I was near death. I wanted to die. I actually wanted it. And he threw out a life rope to me, man, and offered to move me in with him, and he's going to have me working out every day.
I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here. When people ask me, why would you do that? We don't live in this house without him. That's why. It was a long ride.
I know. It's a vicious cycle, man. I f***ed up, then I want to get better, then it's 2 o'clock, it's time to start again.
Okay, so what do you really want?
I want to be free.
Okay, well, it takes work.
Deep breath, exhale forward.
3 years it took to get me sober. 8, 7, 6, 5. And I finally found out what happiness is, true happiness.
Make no mistake, DDP saved Jake Roberts, saved his life. And then he went ahead and helped Scott Hall as well with his addictions. That also helped save his life.
Awesome. That's farther back than you've been, dude. That's way back.
All the things he's doing with wrestlers who others have said, nah, I'm done. I'm done with them. Dallas has never done.
Last one here. 3.
That's just his passion. That's what makes him tick. He loves helping people, and he wants his friends to experience that. And that's really who he's always been.
Yes. Jake and Scott both get sober in the same house. And then they both, in the same year, go in the Hall of Fame. It really just, it made me so happy. I felt like I was going in.
DDP has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I've ever known. He will give you the shirt off his back. I see him doing such amazing things for other people. And I think what we're seeing is just a manifestation of a really, really good heart and a good soul that keeps on giving.
Dallas's early life experience would suggest a man who's selfish and bitter, and he's the opposite.
Diamond Dallas Page's legacy is that he is a guy who refused to sit on his couch and say could have, would have, should have, and went out there and did it. He is an inspiration to every overachiever that has come along since then. Now, he's just trying to do the same thing. He's a guy that's transformed lives. I'll go as far as to say he's saved lives. He's the real deal.
A lot of these people, our transformations are on their way to transforming, not just changing their life, but owning their lives.
You got it? I got it. You got it? I got it.
Give it to me, bro. Come on, just 5. Just 5.
He helps people that are broke. He helps people that are addicted. He's out here beating the bushes, man, trying to help people.
You know, I'm just doing what comes natural to me today. That's why when people say, how do you stay so positive? Because I'm happy. I'm remarried to my beautiful wife, Paige, who's supportive in everything that I do today. And I help a lot of people. You can get whatever you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. That's the truest statement I've ever heard. And I live by it.